Well guys, here is how my neighborhood looks. Somewhere here should be my accommodation, which I'm gonna reach in a few minutes. Overall, the city, at least this part, seems to be very pleasant with these narrow streets, old and new buildings, combination of this. Yes, the heat already reached 38 degrees, but it is what it is. So let me reach the guest house in a few minutes, and I will also show you what I got, how much I paid for it, and the usual things. Well guys, I just reached my accommodation, which is guest house Vavla. Here is the entrance, and here you have double bed with a lot of power outlets, which I really appreciate. We have air conditioning, obviously we have Wi-Fi, I have still not tested it. And here is the bathroom, spacious enough, fresh, clean, so everything looks okay. And I'm paying for this 21 euro per night or 2000 Albanian lek if you pay in local currency. Payment is in cash on arrival. So let me have some rest during the hottest time of the day, and after that I'll hit the streets again and we will see what Berat can offer. Well guys, the temperature finally dropped to around 30 degrees, at least according to my phone, as it is 6 p.m. Let me show you the rest of my guest house. This room, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that it is shared also with other guests, because I only have the key for this room, which I showed you earlier. But here we also have something like a kitchen, we have a fridge. Yeah, looking at the amount of things inside this fridge, definitely this seems to be a shared space. Anyway, I don't need a fridge because I'm here only for one night. So let me check what else we have. Here we have even a laundry. Let me find, I think that this was, yeah, this is the entrance. And here we have a courtyard, small one, where if it wasn't so hot you could sit and enjoy the weather, maybe drink a cold beer, like that. So what we are gonna do now is get back to the streets and head to the old quarter of Berat, the so-called Old Town. So let me reach it in around 20 minutes and I will show you some interesting places there. So guys, what you see on the left is the so-called Mangalem district, which is also known as the old city of Berat. This was the Muslim neighborhood, and I will explain you why it matters. On the right you can see the Osum River. It is now not so big, but generally big river, which as you can see separates the city in two halves. And in the distance there is also very beautiful stone bridge there, which I'm gonna show you later. But the general idea here is that, like in many other places in the Ottoman Empire, the population was separated by neighborhoods. On this side you had the Muslim neighborhood, which is now known as the Mangalem, and which we will explore first. And on the right side, across the river, was the Christian neighborhood, which was called Gorica, and it is still called Gorica, in fact, which we will explore a bit later. So that's the general idea. You had the Muslims on this side of the river and the Christians on the other side, and you had the stone bridge at the bottom, which was connecting these parts. Now, of course, we also have another much more modern bridge here, which people use. So let's start first the exploration of the Mangalem neighborhood, the Muslim one. As you can expect in the Muslim neighborhood, One of the more interesting places is this mosque that you can see in front of me. It has a very interesting name, the Bachelor's Mosque, which frankly I don't know why it is called like that, but it is famous with the interesting paintings in the upper part there. I will also show you this from a bit closer, but there is a lot of traffic here, so I need to figure out the crossing first. So now you can see these paintings from a bit closer, and it is really a bit strange because generally mosques are not like churches. They don't have such paintings neither inside nor outside, but anyway, it is pretty interesting place. This is the vibe of the old Ottoman, old Muslim neighborhood. You can see such map of ancient Greece, and you also have some other interesting information, which some of it is only in Albanian, so I can't entirely understand everything. But anyway, my idea is to show you how the narrow streets of this neighborhood look, and they are really spectacular. I like such architecture. You can see how the old and modern are well integrated, because most of these places are now hotels, restaurants, and so on. But they have retained the old way of building and reconstructing the buildings, which is great. And another thing that you should keep in mind, that Berat is very mountainous city. As long as you get out of the river in the low part, the streets become quite steep. I experienced it earlier when I climbed up to the castle, which is located on top of the hill, and in the heat of the day it took some efforts to reach it, but anyway, it well deserved. So that's pretty much about it. That's the vibe of the old Muslim neighborhood. So now I will slowly go back down to the river, and after that we will cross to the Christian neighborhood. This is another example of how mountainous this city is. This is the main street coming from the river. As you can see, it is steep, and this one is relatively wide, but the ones that are entering the neighborhood are very narrow. So if you come here with a car, you should keep that in mind. This hotel looks very impressive. It is renovated definitely, or maybe even newly constructed, but the style is perfectly preserved. And as you can expect, the closest to the river and the city center we are, the more shops and restaurants and gift shops and such things you can encounter, and also of course a lot of tourists. Now of course I will also need to find a place to eat, but not exactly here. I made a bit of research. I want to also eat in traditional places here, so we will do that a bit later in the Christian neighborhood. And here we have the so-called the gate of the Pasha. Let's check what we have. Okay, so it was a terrace where people came to enjoy the weather, to talk with each other and so on. And now it looks also pretty good. I'm not exactly sure what this building in front of us is. It looks like something old, and I see some information about it, so let's check it. Let's Let's see what this was. Okay, so this was the former Sarai of the Pasha, or the, let's say, the residence of the ruler, the governor here. It was built near the end of the third quarter of 18th century for Ahmed Kurt Pasha. Obviously, he ruled the region at that time. It needs a bit of restoration works, but generally, at least the main part of it is in good shape. So I think that's pretty much about it. We have another mosque in the distance, but this one seems to be much newer, so as you know, the new things are not of interest for me. So let's get back to the Christian neighborhood and see what we will discover there. Now guys, before stepping on the bridge over the Osum River, let me show you one last thing about the Muslim neighborhood. Now once the city of Berat was known as the city of the thousand windows, and from here it is clearly visible why this is, because the old town, the Muslim neighborhood that we explored together just a few minutes ago, it is so densely packed with houses that you see windows everywhere. That's why it was called like this, the city of the thousand windows. This bridge is for sure much newer, but even it is still built with stone, as you can see, and very beautiful, and is also an attraction point for many tourists who want to take pictures with the river and the old bridge in the background. So let's cross it and see what we have on the other side. Right after reaching the other part of the city, on the other bank of the river, you can see this very beautiful church at the top, which is a clear sign that the things have changed and we are now in the Christian neighborhood called Gorica. And from here we have another beautiful view towards the Muslim neighborhood. That's why there are so much people here enjoying it and taking pictures and so on. So let's have one last glance towards the other bank. On this bank we have this very beautiful and flat alley, which is very good for walking around the river, and so many people are doing it, but I'm not so much interested about that. I want to show you the narrow streets of the neighborhood itself. So let me get to this street and see where exactly we will arrive. Here we also have some restaurants, traditional food, but we will sort this a bit later. I'm not sure what the situation will be with the restaurants here in Berat today, because in just around 2 hours it is the final of the World Cup between Spain and Argentina, and I expect the pubs to be full. We will see. One option is to just eat now and watch it in my guest house. We will see how it will go. Anyway, I almost reached the top of this street, so let's check how it looks. It is very similar to the neighborhood from the other side, which again you can see here, but there are some differences. It is not so tightly packed with houses. I don't know, maybe the Christian population was less than the Muslim one in the city, which is in fact pretty normal and expected for the Ottoman cities. But this side is for me a bit not so crowded. The streets are a bit wider and we don't have so much houses. So it is more pleasant to walk. You don't have so much people. It's not so densely packed, so a very good walk for the afternoon. And while I was walking on this very beautiful street, here is what I found, the Church of Saint Spiridon from 19th century. Let's check it.
Hola!
As you can see, this side is of course just to take some pictures. Ah, you are closing? Okay, no worries. So unfortunately the church was just closing. I couldn't show it in more details, but anyway, my idea was to clearly show you that this was the Christian neighborhood and there are still a lot of churches here as expected. Now we need to find something more interesting, and from here we have a very beautiful view towards it, this stone bridge. But let me get a bit closer and I will give you more information about it. By the way, guys, as I'm passing past it, this place called Beer and Wine by Tradita e Beratit is the only place where I surely found confirmed information about the presence of craft beers, and it really looks very beautiful and relaxing, so I will do my best to have a craft beer here a bit later. But the plan is generally like this. Now I'm gonna get down to show you the bridge and give you some historical information about it. Then I have a restaurant to check with some traditional food for dinner, and maybe after that I will come here just for the atmosphere and the craft beer experience. So let's see how this will go. So guys, from here you have a very beautiful view towards the bridge. This bridge is a typical example of Ottoman architecture, and it was originally built in the year 1780. But by that time it was by wood, it was wooden bridge, and after that in 1920 it was rebuilt using stone. You can see how beautiful it is and how well it is standing today, more than 100 years later. So that's about it. That's the historical things that I wanted to show you in this neighborhood, the Muslim and the Christian one. So now let me find our traditional restaurant and see what we will eat and drink. So guys, this is the place that I found any traditional food. It has very good reviews in Google. So let's sit maybe here and see. So guys, here is how their menu looks, as you can see. Thank you very much. Thank you. I got the Elbar Lager, which will come great in this heat. And here is how their menu looks. They have some soups, some side dishes, some main dishes. In fact, I ordered this köfte fure mekepe, if I pronounce it correctly, which we'll see what exactly will be. I think maybe will be something similar to the one that I ate yesterday for dinner in Duras, but we will understand in a bit. Here the prices are a bit higher, but after all, you can see we are right next to this beautiful bridge in one of the most touristy parts of Berat. Well guys, the food just arrived. Let me show you how it looks. Generally, to me it looks like just two meatballs with some French fries and sauce. But I'm gonna check it and tell you. And here I have this beer. This is not Moretti, just the cup is from Moretti. This is El Bar, which is pretty standard lager. But let's check what we have. So let's form a bite with some of the sauce and French fries. Here is how it looks. In fact, it is delicious. The portion is a bit on the small side compared with what I encountered so far in other places, but otherwise it is delicious and will definitely do the job for the dinner. So let me enjoy my dinner, and after that I will also try to show you some craft beer experience here. So guys, the dinner cost me 950 Albanian lek, which is approximately around 10 euro. Definitely nothing scary, but a bit more expensive than the other places that I have visited so far. But this is pretty normal because look where we are. Here is the bridge. We have a lot of other restaurants. We have really a lot of tourists. So I find this still pretty affordable. So guys, this is the craft beer place that I showed you earlier. Let's get to a table and see what they have. Hello.
Hi.
So guys, as you can see, this place is pretty big. It has tables on several floors and many people are eating. This part is more free, so that's why I choose to come here. And this is the beer that I got, Birăria e Ghishit, if I pronounce it correctly. So let me check what we have. Ooh, that's very good IPA. More on the west side, you have some bitterness, but it is not too pronounced and the balance is perfect. So guys, one clarification about this place. This area here that you can see, the lower floors, this is in fact the restaurant. And this area here is the bar. And it was empty, almost empty when I came, but now it is also full. So definitely this place is very famous and many people come here, and it is in fact the best and maybe only place to get craft beer here. I also want to show you this very beautiful view towards the Berat Castle at the top. So guys, this is the street along the river, which is the most touristy part of the neighborhood. As you can see, you have a lot of people. You have even a fancy bar where you can watch the World Cup final if you want. And I also want to show you the very beautiful view of the bridge, which is now even lit for the evening. Just look at this beauty. It is so well made. It looks so ancient. It is not very ancient, it is just 100 years old, but yeah, the way it was done is admirable, very beautiful. So guys, I think that this is the right time to finalize this video for today. I'm gonna cross the bridge. I'm gonna get to my guest house. On my way back, I'm gonna grab a beer or two and I will watch the World Cup final at home. And tomorrow in the morning I will catch a bus going towards the bustling capital Tirana, which is the last city that I'm gonna visit before heading back to Sofia. So that's about it from here. with this very beautiful view of the Osum River from the bridge and the castle in the distance. I say good night to you guys, and tomorrow we continue our exploration.